If you want to be a better painter, improve your painting skills, and want to boost your overall appearance of your miniatures, don't dry brush. You have seen it all over the internet. This technique is a common thing. There is a use for it, of course. And in that video, I will show you my approach of dry brushing. First, I will tell you why I wouldn't use dry brush when I want to become a better painter. On the one hand, it is very restricting and doesn't give you a lot of space for your personal style. And on the other hand, of course, it is a very quick and easy to learn technique. So what's the downside on dry brushing? In my opinion, the finish of the model, especially when you use it as your last technique, is always a little bit monotone. It's a little bit simple and there is not a lot of space for personal improvement. And especially in miniature painting, you want to have your personal style. You want to try to push your model to the limit. And I understand it. You want to have a technique that is fast, reliable, easy to learn, and so dry brushing is maybe the best. But you know, miniature painting is not always about the speed. Sometimes you just want to enjoy your hobby and improve yourself as a painter. For me, dry brushing sometimes seems like a very easy shortcut, but also it's a perfect excuse to not improve your painting skills. So what I see in a lot of my workshops, people try to shortcut with dry brushing. And those shortcuts sometimes limit yourself with going further and further and improve your skills. Because there are also other techniques that can make you faster, but overall your model will look a little bit more personalized. But wait, are there maybe more ways of using the technique, but also the brush itself? Especially when I paint commissions, but also my own army. I discovered so many different techniques of using my brush, but also the technique of dry brushing. But enough talking, let's start painting. First, we will start with the absolutely classic dry brush technique. You maybe seen it before, but I will show you my approach, so let's go to the table.
So, first of all, I will load the brush. As you can see, it is half full with paint, and then I will start rubbing it down. As you can see here on my hand, there is a little bit left on the brush, but not too much. And then we will just go over our miniature. I will start with a very dark tone. Of course, you will not see a result right away, but to show it, it's very effective. So I will start, go over the whole model to make the first layer with it. Good. After the first layer, we will start to mix our colors. So I go brighter and then gently go over all the surfaces. It is very important that you are not using too much pressure on the brush, so you don't have too much color or too much messy parts on that armor. Now I'm pretty happy with that color. Now I go further with only the grass green, and again we will need to spread the color evenly in our brush and then rub it away till only a little bit is left in the brush. Especially now it is very important that there is no wet color. We want it very dry, obviously with dry brush. Now be gentle, just go on the upper parts and do some little strokes over the Space Marine armor. And if you want, there is also like another option. You go with that grass green, a little bit of yellow. I would always recommend highlighting your greens with yellow, not with white, because then you have like a very unsaturated or kind of like unnatural color for the green. I will always go with yellow. And then I just focus on the very upper parts of that model, like the helmet and a little bit on the shoulders and the chest.
So guys, that was the classic method of dry brushing. I know it is a very simple technique, but do you know what? I show you some more advanced techniques of dry brushing. Advanced? Do you think this is a little bit too much for you? No worries, I got you. The techniques are still very simple. Advanced doesn't always mean that it's a hard technique.
Okay guys, and this is the second method. In that case, I will just make a textured undercoating. So I will mix black and white and go up with a gray to white gradient and then working on from there on. You can also, if you want to add extra contrast and extra texture, you can stipple with your dry brush, what means that you poke your brush on the model to create a lot of small dots and bits and little texture, especially on the upper parts of the model, like the face and the shoulders. That can look very nice. This is very, very good when it comes to grimdark painting. So you have like a very cool and uneven finish, very dark, very worn. And from there on we can continue with our layers. We now go over it with like a speed paint color. You can also use a contrast color or express color. There are so many on the market. You can also just use a very thin paint or inks. We just use the undercoating for our gradient. So this is a transparent color. As you can see, the undercoating is shine through that red color, and so it gives us kind of like the shadows and also the highlights. Also very important, you need to let it dry after every layer of that glaze. Okay guys, now we had our undercoating and also the first layer of red. I will repeat the whole process once, so I can show you that you can build up even more gradient with that red tone. So I take a white, go over the most upper areas to create another highlight. And then we add another layer of our glaze or speed paint, contrast, whatever you want. I will now focus on some edge highlights so that you can see, you can build up on that surface as well. This video should be about dry brushing and not about finishing a model, but I really hope I could help you with that little step by step.
So with the classic method of dry brushing, we use it more like a last layer, like a finish of that little surface. But with the advanced techniques, you can also use it as an undercoat. Looks pretty neat, right? But I will tell you, there are still a lot of people that should not dry brush on a certain point of their painting journey. Because miniature painting is not just art, and it's not just practical, it is also a craftsmanship. And in like all craftsmanships, you should learn your basics first. But these are all shortcuts. So make sure you have the basics right before going shortcuts. And therefore, we have a very nice guideline prepared for you. So if you want to learn the very basics from A to B to C, we have a full guide of all the skills you need to learn first.